This is an anime recap video, and in this video, I'm going to show you a guy named Laios, who, with his party, Marcille, Chilchuk, and Senshi, gets stuck in a dungeon and decides to eat monsters. It all starts with the discovery of the dungeon in a small village. One day, a rumble in the ground causes a rift under the cemetery, from which a single man appears. He claims to be the king of a once prosperous kingdom that fell 1,000 years ago in the dungeon. He states that the once glorious land continues to be held captive deep underground by the hands of a mad magician. In his final words before turning to dust, the man declares that he offers his entire kingdom to the one who defeats the magician. In the present day, the dragon proves too much for them, and they can't handle its movements and attacks. Although they made thorough preparations beforehand, they walk into a trap, losing not only time but also 3 days' worth of food. Their leader, Laios, also realizes that due to hunger, his party lacks their usual prowess, and they cannot defeat the giant dragon. Just as he thinks of withdrawing from the dungeon, his sister named Phelan knocks him out of the way and gets bitten by a dragon. In a last-ditch attempt to save the party, she casts a spell from inside the mouth of the dragon and sends everyone outside of the dungeon. After some time, Laios wakes up on a field, feeling hungry after fighting the giant dragon. His party member named Marcille, an elven mage, informs him that due to a magic spell, they got out of the dungeon. Everyone is safe, but Phelan is missing, and he wonders why their belongings, including the food, did not come. Hearing this, Laios tells her that she was eaten by the dragon, and due to this, her magic didn't work from inside the dragon's stomach. He then asks her to go save Phelan in the dungeon, but she resists, stating that without food, they can't save her. Their other party member, Chilchuk, tells them that they also lost the other 2 party members who resigned from their party. Hearing this, Laios realizes that exploring dungeons costs money, including hiring companions, buying equipment, and obtaining food. He wonders if he can sell all the equipment of his party to get the desired money. However, Chilchuk shuts him down. They then head to the nearby market and decide to eat some food. They insist on following him. However, Laios tells them that they will secure food in the dungeon, including eating monsters. He further explains that carnivorous monsters will have herbivorous monsters to feed on, and the herbivorous monsters eat plants, which means humans can eat in the dungeon too. Hearing this, Marcille doesn't take the idea well and begins loudly protesting it. Just then, another party runs from a mushroom monster and passes them, with Marcille killing the monster with her stab. Seeing the mushroom monster, Laios picks it up and decides to cook it for lunch. When asked how he will do it, he shows them a dungeon food guide that has all the information about edible monsters. Suddenly, Laios hears the sound of a giant scorpion and decides to head there. Just then, the narrator tells us that despite being in a dungeon, many people come and go, making it a bustling place for adventurers and merchants. A place called Formal Cemetery was once a sacred place where villagers slept in peace, but once it connected to the dungeon 6 years ago, it became the liveliest place in the village. The rumors say that monsters emerge from the depths of the dungeon, unclear to everyone whether it was due to a forbidden spell that transferred terrestrial creatures or if they were summoned from the world of monsters. After the brief explanation, Laios attacks the Chilchuk asks him about his intentions of eating monsters from the beginning. However, Laios tells him that he wants to save his sister too, but he also loves the monsters, including their appearance scorpion food. They cut the mushroom dwarf, named Senshi, who tells them he knows how to cook this scorpion. Upon his arrival, he starts teaching them how to prepare the giant scorpion and mushroom properly for cooking. After adding a few more ingredients from his pack and from the dungeon, he realizes that he is missing something. He gathers some plants with roots and decides to add them to the pot. However, Marcille does not support the idea. Before they can add the ingredients to the pot, a slime covers Marcille's body. Senshi kills it with his knife. Not only this, he also tells them the method of finding slime body parts, including heart and mind, and how to kill it. After that, they also add the slime to the pot, and once the meal is ready, it's quite delicious, and everyone loves it, including Marcille. After finishing their meal, they finally introduce themselves. Laios shares his mission with Senshi that he wants to rescue his sister and slay the dragon party. He also tells them that cooking a red dragon has always been his dream. They welcome him, though they ponder the ethics of eating a dragon that consumed a person. Just before they head to the inner parts of the dungeon, they conclude that there's no hierarchy when it comes to consuming dungeon food, and eating is simply the exclusive privilege of the living. Moving through the second level of the dungeon, filled with tall trees and connected by wooden bridges, Laios' party encounters minor incidents due to the unsafe terrain. Laios suggests setting up camp for the night. No suggestions for monsters found on the second level. She refuses to eat any monster that is unhygienic, a goblin, or just made of metal. Chilchuk remarks on the irony of her claiming she's okay with anything yet rejecting all options. But Marcille believes her request for something normal like birds or fruit is reasonable. Laios responds that unfortunately, what she wants must be hunted for. She apologizes, having seen his point. Senshi plants turn out to be man-eating plants. Laios corrects Marcille, explaining that not all of these plants consume people. He points out a species that only captures animals to use as fertilizer. Marcille suggests using people as fertilizer too, to which Laios responds that even the vegetables she eats are composed of dead bodies if traced back. Chilchuk reassures Marcille that people would notice if there were corpses around and would look first at the base, that they will have to fight the plants to get to their fruit. Marcille steps forward and begins to respond to him. A plant captures her. Senshi then explains his rule on taking only what you can eat. On upwards by the plant, she bumps into another plant that spits out a partially digested man. She angrily shouts at Laios for correcting her previous assumptions, but he responds that digestive capability is species dependent, and that the one that had captured Marcille was a parasitic type, which does not comfort her. She responds in thanks. He is curious about the plant's ability to hold without killing or letting its prey escape, asking Marcille how it feels, but his suggestion that it would feel good angers and disturbs her greatly. The rest of the party picks some fruit off the plants and returns to the hollow where they made camp. Senshi begins preparing the fruit, trimming out the seeds. Laios attempts to pocket the seeds, but Marcille notices and disposes of them in the fire. Senshi cooks up both ripe and unripe fruit, slime, and the leftover scorpion soup in the frying pan, making a tart-like dish. Laios and Chilchuk dig in, but Marcille is suspicious. Having confirmed that nothing from the man-eating type plant was used, she takes a bite and finds that it tastes good. She muses that having such delicious fruit seems disadvantageous for the plant, as other animals would want to eat it. But Laios explains that the carnivorous plants use the fruit as bait. He is happy a man is hoisted up using a rope. The image is unfortunately rather gallows-like, but they call it a day. Marcille's dream starts happily with her mother preparing her favorite dishes, but it quickly turns into a nightmare as all the dishes are made from dungeon monsters. Upon waking, she's horrified to still smell the food from her dream, revealed to be another party grilling salt pork. Chilchuk and Marcille look on in jealousy. Observing this, Senshi laments the current unbalanced state of young adventurers' diets. He acknowledges their party's nutritious but lacking diet, missing one key component, fat, which he claims Marcille is craving. Despite her disagreement, stating she's simply tired of eating monsters, Senshi decides their plan for the day is to hunt a monster rich in fat, ideally getting some eggs, which he believes are the most nutritionally perfect food. Laios realizes this leads them to go after the king of snakes, the basilisk. Chilchuk jokes that Marcille is finally going to get chicken, but she doubts basilisks can be called chickens. Laios shares his appreciation for basilisks and chimeras, expressing his dream to compare the tastes of basilisk and cicatris meat. The group searches for a basilisk nest following Laios' information on their nesting habits. They discover one with freshly laid eggs, which appear slightly odd to Marcille. While collecting them, they hear the call of a basilisk and witness the earlier party being chased by one. Unfortunately, a member of that party is slashed by its claws. As the party is cornered, Laios steps in to rescue them. He attempts to intimidate the beast by shouting and making his body seem larger, embarrassing Marcille and Chilchuk. Laios and Senshi collaborate, confusing and defeating the basilisk by attacking from different sides. Laios checks on the injured member of the other party, poisoned by the basilisk spurs. Apologizing, Laios assumes they lack an antidotal herb, but Marcille informs him that Senshi says otherwise. Senshi, however, prefers to reserve it for their later meal. Laios and Marcille insist on having lunch immediately to aid the poisoned man's swift recovery. Senshi prepares the chicken side of the basilisk and makes stuffing, urged by Marcille to expedite the process for the injured's sake. As Senshi slowly cooks the basilisk rotisserie style, the man's health continues to decline, prompting the group to move him closer to the fire for warmth. When the roast is done, the group swiftly spoons some into the injured man's mouth, and he looks a little healthier afterward. While they eat, Marcille heals the man with her magic and encourages him and his party member to join them for a meal. As they finish their food, the healed man seeks advice from Laios on getting strong enough to eat monsters. However, Senshi intervenes, offering his 3 rules: eating healthily, maintaining good sleeping habits, and regular exercise. The two parties part ways, with the other group taking Senshi's advice to heart. Unfortunately, it proves insufficient as they are ultimately defeated by man-eating plants. Laios' party continues navigating the dungeon in search of the red dragon, facing a challenge in Marcille struggling to keep up, slowing their progress. Taking a short break for her well-being, the rest of the party discusses their next move, dismissing all of Marcille's offers to assist. Opting for a path with fewer monsters, Senshi suggests searching for vegetables like mandrakes to supplement their meals while Marcille rests. Despite her determination to help and express expertise in mandrake picking, her knowledge is purely theoretical and leads to the unfortunate death of a dog. While Marcille explains her method, Senshi promptly uproots a mandrake, causing audible horror from Marcille, though he swiftly cuts off its head before it can scream. Laios and Chilchuk decide to adopt Senshi's method, but Marcille remains unconvinced. She resolves to prove the effectiveness of her approach, partly to receive an apology. Without a dog available, Marcille adapts her plan with big bats. She ties one end of a rope to a mandrake and dangles the other end in a loop outside the big bat's nest. Moving to a tower where she won't hear the mandrakes scream, she initiates her plan with an explosion, successfully scaring the big bats out of their roost. However, the flawless plan takes an unexpected turn when the frenzied big bat, with the mandrake attached, falls onto her hiding spot. The rest of the party rushes to check on Marcille, slightly dazed from the mandrake's scream. In her disoriented state, she honestly reveals her motives. She wanted the party to grovel before her and, more importantly, disliked feeling useless. Laios and Chilchuk gently explain that they don't want her to exhaust herself too early, emphasizing her crucial magical skills for the deeper parts of the dungeon. Senshi suggests making omelets for their meal, which pleases Marcille as it appears normal. She observes the peculiar shape of the basilisk eggs and receives a lesson from Laios on basilisk anatomy in return. Senshi prepares the omelets, filling them with minced mandrake and basilisk bacon. He separates the omelet made from Marcille's mandrake from the rest and serves them to the party. Laios and Chilchuk enjoy their meal, noting that the one made from Marcille's mandrake is less bitter. Senshi acknowledges the merits of Marcille's method, particularly in cooking, and as a token of gratitude, gives Marcille the most nutritious part, the mandrake's head. Witnessing this, a frustrated Marcille expresses her weariness of constantly eating monsters. As the party descends towards the third floor, the rogue Chilchuk utilizes his half-foot abilities to help find secret passageways and avoid traps. He instructs the party, particularly the newest member Senshi, to follow his guidance and refrain from disturbing him as he works. Despite Chilchuk pointing out safe paths, Senshi's imprecise step triggers a spike trap. While Chilchuk attempts to scold him into following instructions, Senshi nonchalantly proceeds through the room, setting off various traps, including a fire one. Chilchuk's comment about not wanting a roasted dwarf sparks Senshi's thoughts about fried foods, ultimately settling on kakage and tempura. Inquiring about the oil dispenser for the fire trap, Senshi asks Chilchuk, who, stunned, clarifies that the oil is definitely not meant for cooking. Senshi insists they'll recognize it when they see it and again requests to see the oil dispenser. Chilchuk agrees on the condition that Senshi respects their respective areas of expertise and emphasizes his desire to be left alone during his work. Chilchuk successfully locates the treasure vault and the oil dispenser within it. He instructs the party to stand back as he swiftly disarms the dispenser. Marcille comments on his immature attitude, but Laios reminds her that Chilchuk bears the responsibility of keeping them alive and safe from traps. Chilchuk confirms the nozzle's location to Senshi, who promptly holds up his pot and asks Chilchuk to trigger the dispenser to shoot out oil. Initially objecting, Chilchuk succumbs to Senshi's nonchalant persuasion, and he does as requested. The hot oil shoots into the pot, with a wayward drop burning Laios in the process. Concerned, Chilchuk checks on Senshi, who remains unfazed and determines that the oil is both at the perfect temperature for frying, and is, in fact, olive oil, an unsurprising fact to Senshi, considering the region above the dungeon was previously an olive-growing area. Senshi confirms their ability to deep fry and suggests using the earlier swinging blade trap to cut up the big bat carcass. Attempting to place it in the same spot as before, Chilchuk intervenes, cautioning that the trap might not work consistently. In response, Senshi entrusts Chilchuk with the task of cutting up the meat, citing his expertise in traps. Once Chilchuk finishes this, Senshi assigns him to heat the oil using the fire trap while he prepares the big bat meat and mandrakes for frying. Chilchuk ensures the oil reaches the perfect temperature, and Senshi then asks him to make the mandrake kakage. After a few initial misses and a gentle nudge from Senshi, Chilchuk successfully produces a golden brown cabbage. As the party enjoys the well-fried food, Senshi expresses appreciation for the hidden room's utility, startling Chilchuk, who promptly warns Senshi not to attempt such actions without him around. Senshi acknowledges this and compliments Chilchuk's trap manipulating skills. In response, Chilchuk offers to teach Senshi about traps, partly as a gesture of gratitude for teaching him how to cook. Like and comment if you enjoy this video. Subscribe to my channel for more anime recaps, and tell me what anime recap you like to see next in the comments below.